Welcome back to the Cutty and Govy show down here, Palm Beach, Delray, Boca Raton, weather. I mean, this is the greatest March we've ever had. I'm down here in 1990, full-time probably, 2015, I don't even know. And it's sick, this weather. Look at Govy. He is so tan.
And it's from walking. It's just, I gotta tell you.
You're like a Greek god. You're like a GQ guy.
It's like California. It gets cold at night. You know, it goes into the 50s
Yeah, it goes 55 in the morning. Anyway, let's go over. Scotty Lombard took on the Donald for the club championship. Trump, Palm Beach. Scott's my sister and brother-in-law's son. Took the Donald on. We got a picture of me and the Donald. The Donald, I talked to him about my book, and I'm holding my book in front of me. He let me get into the Beast, the limousine. And then we got a nice picture that night, the dinner table with Elon Musk, Stephen Miller, the Donald, and maybe the greatest player, one of the greatest players, 89-year-old Gary Player. But we wanted to start this out. Now, Scott took Donald, Mr. President, all the way to the end of the match. And unfortunately, I've never seen Scott do this before. He hit a ball out of bounds.
Well, but you know.
And he unfortunately lost to Mr. Donald Trump, President of the United States, is now the club champ, Palm Beach.
But I got to take my hat off to Scott because he's getting good at this because the year before,
right,
he was in the club final again. So he
was in the semifinals.
But he lost to Donald Trump again. So he lost back-to-back years. So he knows he's getting good at losing these.
But Scott, a shout out to you because the Donald said at age 70, almost 9, this is his last championship. So it's all yours next year, right?
It is. So Donald's really good. I saw the picture that he takes with his big trophy that he has, and Scott, with the runner-up trophy.
Yeah, it was on True Social.
So doesn't he take Scott up to the Oval Office like he takes everybody, gives them a little tour, maybe an Air Force One?
Well, I thought we were going to get that tour this weekend, but it looks like the Donald, I just read it, is going to be in Bedminster this weekend. He's not going to be down here, but I think there's an agreement that we get a ride on, or Scott does if he invites us. I hope he does, and his parents. We get a ride on Air Force One, and then we stay overnight, and we get the Oval Office the next day. And Gavy's in on that.
Yeah, I know. But tell everybody what I think is a great story. The day before, Trump was playing. You asked him, and he told you that he hit him bad, but I was thinking it was the way he swung. But it wasn't. It was.
Oh, yeah. So I was talking to the Donald, when he took the picture with my book, and he told me that he had to walk off the course, put the headphones on, and hit the hooties. He had to take out. Man, that's a mess. Do you see it's a war again?
I know. It's unbelievable.
I mean, you can't trust any of those people in the Middle East.
It's crazy.
I hope Donald Trump whacks the hell out of these guys.
He beat him bad. He hit him hard.
He hit him hard, but I mean, they're like ants. How do you get rid of these people? I mean, it's like peace, no peace, peace, no peace. It's terrible.
By the way, just release the prisoner. Just release the hostages. They've been under there for 580 days. Release
Did you hear that guy, 510 days, he gave a little thing?
Yeah. And by the way, inside a tunnel with you don't see, and then they starved him, and he lost like 60, 70 pounds.
Anyway, let's hit this Elon Musk first because he was at the Champions Dinner. He was there with X, his little kid, and he was at the table with the Donald. And I have my SpaceX shirt on, Govy, because that's what it's about. SpaceX saved the 2 astronauts, and it's just horrifying that America is blowing up Tesla dealership. I mean, this guy just saved 2 astronauts. And they're killing this guy. I mean, they're blowing up his stuff.
Well, first of all, everybody was watching Fox News. They blew away the field on the coverage, and the ratings killed ABC, CBS, NBC combined. But how about that? Not only was it a picture-perfect day, you had a school of dolphins that greeted the astronauts when they landed.
That was
came
so
up.
Cool.
I mean, it was just perfect, and he saved them. And then you had to hear him say, then the Democrats made like they could have come home at any time they wanted, that the spaceship was really there for
300 days they were up there.
So someone said, that's like telling you there's a car outside. It might blow up if you want to take a ride home. So you're not getting in your car. You're not getting in the spaceship if there's a chance it might disintegrate. So they waited so they could like be aces back to back. They just didn't think it would be close to 10 months.
Well, I just think politics is an awful thing for America because, I mean, think about it. You know, the Democratic Party has really been the Green Party. And now they're blowing up Teslas, they're blowing up dealerships, they're going after Elon Musk, and he was Mr. Green until he backed Donald Trump.
Yeah, but you know, the one thing about politics, what Donald Trump has done, he's made politics literally a sport. Like, people were never really interested in politics. He actually made it where people are tuning in like you're watching a ball game. And, you know, what's funny about taxes, even when it comes down to it, I would get my taxes at the end of the year. I pay my taxes. I would always be upset that, like, wow, how much?
Boy, your number must be huge, guy.
No, yours is much bigger. But you know, you get your tax.
I own 20%. You own 80%.
You get your tax number, but you never thought where the tax money's going. You just know you give it to the government and they pay for it. So it's not like I'm worried about where it just bothers you that you're giving it to the government. And all you ever heard was, like, you know, Bernie Sanders, Schumer, like, you got to tax the rich. They got to get more money and more money. But now that with Doge, you're finding out where this money's going. So, by the way, half the country doesn't pay taxes at all. And like 10% of the country pay like what, 80%, 90% of the taxes.
Which is fair.
Okay, but now you're sitting there saying that all these politicians are making money off your taxes. So when they say, oh, we have $150 million to do a study on transgender mice. Well, you know what? Take my money, take my tax money, put it to the Chicago a neighborhood and bring up the middle class. Give it to something that benefits people that I could see where the money's going. But to tell me that you're asking for more and more money for some of these causes that were exposed, now it's almost like you don't even want to give taxes. You want to like I think they should be justifying more rather than asking for more and more money. At least show us where it's going.
Well, I think they have to come up with a better strategy to talk to the people that make $150,000 or less and explain to them that Doge will save money and they'll have to pay almost no taxes. I mean, I play this stupid game with myself every morning. This morning, today, I put $66 worth of gas in my gas tank. I bought a roll at the grocery store and a newspaper. I bought my coffee. And I did something else. I spent $90. I didn't even do anything.
Right.
I mean, literally, I did basic necessity stuff. I spent $90.
Right.
And every single day, you say, well, it's a one-time event. I just filled up my tank. It's good for me. But tomorrow, I'm sure
it's every day.
Every day. Tomorrow, it's going to be something else.
Yeah. So these taxes, now everybody's starting to be aware of their tax dollars. And now you can take the same thing. When it came to education, this... the Weingartner, Randy Weingartner, or whatever her last name is. I mean, they're like all of a sudden worried about that they're going to cut the education, that he wants to do away with the Department of Education. What are we, happy where we're at right now? We got idiots out there that are like failing. They're failing grades. And we've got to do something different. We can't be the highest country that gives the highest amount per student in the world, and we're in last place. Like, we got to do something different.
And even worse, like China has, I don't know, 5-6 times the population than us, and their schools are much better.
Yeah, I'm not asking for the Netherlands or Finland.
Yeah.
I'm just asking, like, can we top top Colombia?
So now, and Trump is coming out with the Kennedy files, which will be really interesting, and we'll find out about that. And they're going to come out with Gaza. What happened with Gaza? That'll be scary.
Benghazi.
They're
going to find out with Hillary Clinton. With
Benghazi.
The
ambassador,
and then, they're going to find out about Butler, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah. Trump wants to know who tried to kill his ass.
I'm going to tell you my conspiracy. I think the same thing that happened to Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, happened to Kennedy. I think the CIA...
Boy, that is so crazy to talk like that.
I think
I agree with you.
I
but
think
I
the
mean,
CIA, like these tapes are coming out. They were involved when Kennedy's right hand person, Schlesinger, basically said it's a state within a state, and you should be nervous of the CIA. And they were watching Oswald for 4 years. Like if you're watching a guy for 4 years,
well, was he in the CIA, Oswald?
well, that's
Yeah.
that. But they watched him. They followed him from Russia. He was in Russia,
Right.
Cuba. I mean, they're watching a guy like. To me, I think they. And then there was the thing with the mob. Don't forget, the deal was that the mob was going to they were going to back Kennedy that he could run for president, but they had to get RFK off of. He was the attorney general to get him off their back. Well, when he won, RFK was still on their back, so some people were thinking maybe but
It'll be interesting. I don't think they say they're still going to hold 10% of the information for security reasons. So maybe that 10% will be the conclusion of what happened. I mean, it's going to be tough to say, but it is pretty corrupt.
And another thing that's interesting, Dan Bongino is now the assistant to Kash Patel at the FBI. And one of the things he said the other day, he says, a lot of people, he said, might not say, this Russia collusion thing the first time when Donald Trump was president. They came up with this whole bull crap about the Russia. He said, you got to look at it like they made up a story about an enemy of ours that has nuclear weapons, like a nuclear country. We brought them into this thing. Like we basically blame them. Like, how do you do that? That's dangerous.
It's just so political. It's just such a shame. I mean, it's just such a shame. They can't stand for that kid in the State of Congress speech. They can't, it's just a mess.
Did you ever think before that a judge, that when they shop judges, did you ever think like judges there were no politics involved?
Yeah.
Now, it's like Donald Trump can't even send the worst of the worst gang members. The plane is in the air, and a judge can say, and it could be any local judge. It could be the judge of, Lower Merion, Pennsylvania, and they could say, turn the plane around. I want these criminals back in the United States.
Well, I heard they were going to turn around SpaceX instead of the judge was going to make it that they couldn't save the astronaut. Yeah, go back.
Yeah. I mean,
or he was going to dock with the space station and tell them they couldn't get the astronauts. Go back.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It is kind of crazy. But I wanted to ask you a question. Something stupid happened to me today. I'm holding the door for these two guys going into the gym. They're right behind me. They don't say thank you. I mean, like, would you make a comment, like, yo, dude, why are you so rude? I mean, it's like a Larry David moment. I'm holding the door, and they walk through the door like I'm their doorman.
Well, what's kind of crazy to me is a lot of times you could open the door for a woman, and I
don't mind if she doesn't say thank you.
No, but sometimes they don't say, thank you at all. Most guys say, yeah. Just say thanks. Why not? Hey, thanks.
And the other thing I wanted to ask you, because we're going to fight over this, I'm watching the Players Golf Tournament last week. So the golfer wins $5 million. His caddy gets 10%, $500,000. And I'm saying, my argument is the golfer deserves his money. Why does that caddy get 10%? The difference between the best caddy and the worst caddy is nothing. It's the same. They're not like the difference between the best golfer and the worst. How does a caddy deserve $500,000?
A caddy has a calming influence on his player. That's like, it's almost like a shrink that makes him feel better.
Okay, I believe that. I believe that.
He travels 47 weeks a year with this guy.
But there's a caddy working for the lowest rung golfer traveling 47 weeks.
He helps the golfer gets endorsement money by 22 endorsement companies that's on his golf bag, on his hat, on his clothes. Caddy doesn't get anything. He makes his living this way. The golfer could end up getting hurt, be out for a month and a half, 2 months. Caddy makes zero money doing that. The golfer ends up having a bad year. So it's 1 year to the other. So it's feast or famine sometimes. Not everybody gets a superstar. Look, I had a golfer, for instance. Imagine your caddy. Imagine we have a guy that I cheer for, Ming-Woo Lee.
He's the Bethune guy?
The Bethune guy. He's going to be staying at my brother's house for there's a PGA tournament.
And he's tall, right?
A little guy, you know.
He's little.
But he's going to be staying at for the Philadelphia Cricket golf course. There's a tournament. He's going to be staying at my brother's. Now, here's a guy. He was leading the tournament of the players.
Right. I saw him day 2.
Yeah, and like now you're the caddy, and you're thinking it's $5 million. At worst, you're thinking top 10 finish.
Right.
You're thinking you're getting your
$100,000.
$100,000 minimum that you're getting, and then you watch my guy Ming Wu go bogey, double bogey, bogey, double bogey, bogey, double bogey.
Was it the caddy's fault? Maybe the caddy wasn't calling to him. Maybe the caddy wasn't a good caddy.
It wasn't his fault. But at the end of the day, his paycheck went from maybe $500,000 to $25,000.
All right, so let me ask you this question.
That's like a tease.
No, but Scotty Scheffler earned $64 million on the tour last year. Is this caddy really deserve $6.4 million?
Well, wasn't that way with Tiger with all his Stevie and?
I know, but Scotty Scheffler, I guarantee, could pick any one of 20 caddies and still earn $64 million on the year.
But this caddy is his friend that makes it look. Doesn't Dustin Johnson use his brother?
Well, I'll tell you, Donald Trump's caddies are worth the money they get.
Yeah, they are. The guy's still winning golf tournaments at this age. I mean, but by the way, Donald Trump's caddy, I saw inauguration night. That night that his caddy was there.
Oh yeah, Donald Trump. Those guys are his
the
buddies.
Convention.
Yeah,
his caddy was there.
No. I agree with you.
He's privy.
They're his friends. They're his buddies, his friends.
And they're privy to a lot of stuff that goes on.
Yeah, and they have a omerta. They don't say a word. They hear, go crush this guy, go, bomb that, and they don't say a word to anybody.
Yeah,
omerta. Yeah.
And by the way, Trump, look what he did with Fox News in a way. Every single person was friendly. So you have a dream team. You have your. So right now, if you ever watch Fox News at night, this would be like their lineup. It would be like if you're watching Jesse Waters, he would be like, Monday night, I got Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense. Next night, I got the Vice President Vance. Then I'll have Trump. Then I'll have Kash Patel, FBI. They're all.
So let me ask you this question, Govy. I agree with you. Trump took maybe 10 people from Fox. Why didn't we give a phone call from Fox to get us at the table of the 5?
There should be an opening for
us.
There's
got to be an opening for us. 5. Watch. We're here. We're ready.
Here's my prediction. I'm going to give you a little bit of a prediction.
They're going to call us.
Everybody wants to know who the Democratic leader is right now. Who is the face of the Democratic Party? Chuck Schumer, they want to throw to the lions right now. Pelosi is is chewing on her tongue. Then you got everybody, AOC, you got that girl Crockett, you got all these people, and they don't have a leader. And I'm going to tell you the one.
Well, how about the guy that's head of the Congress?
Hakeem Jeffries?
Yeah, isn't he their leader?
He failed miserably.
But he's their leader, right?
But they don't have one.
Right.
So I'm going to tell you the one person, if you went up to Republicans, that makes them, if you just watch their face, and you say, I'm going to tell you who it will be. The person that will emerge as the Democratic candidate will be Harold Ford from the 5.
He's great.
On Fox News. And Republicans look at him like, hey.
No, he's good.
They like him.
Yeah, I like him.
You like him.
He's a moderate.
So, right. So if you like him, he's scary. Because he could win.
And he's smart.
And you know what?
He can talk.
And it's okay. If he won, that would be, a lot of Republicans would be okay. And there's a lot of Democrats, by the way, that switch parties.
Well, how about if they try and swipe Kennedy back?
They can't.
They could take Kennedy back.
He's still out there, and the voice, he couldn't win with the voice. He couldn't win with the voice. I mean, that bothered us from the very beginning.
That drove me nuts.
And he got it,
but he's never going to make it. I say he's a sexaholic. He's going to fall down. He's not going to make it a year.
There's another person that was leading. There's a senator from Connecticut. His name's Murphy.
Right.
And all of a sudden, this guy has this backbone. Like he's like attacking Trump. He's like out of nowhere, this guy is like bashing him. Then you find out, separated from his wife with this younger girl,
right?
And she is backed by George Soros. So this guy's getting all his money. Her name's like Tara McGowan, and she's a publisher of like a progressive magazine. He's backed by George Soros. All of a sudden, his backbone.
Oh my God.
Now you get to see where his backbone comes from.
And how about Tampon Tim? Did you see him screaming yesterday? He was jumping up and down, and he wears these super tight pants. What's he think? He's a sex chem? What's he think? He's George Clooney?
Do you know he's the acting governor of Minnesota right now?
I mean, he didn't relinquish his job.
But you don't have to there. So he's the acting governor of Minnesota. He gets up there and says, I look at the Tesla stock every day, and I'm so happy when I see it goes down. Yeah, he was a teacher, and his wife was a teacher. Do you know the Minnesota teacher's pension is tied into Tesla stock?
Do you think he knows that?
He knows it today because
my God.
And he's cheering for his own people of Minnesota, his own teachers, to lose their nest egg, their pension, to cheer for it to go down. Is he an idiot?
He's a moron. He's a complete moron. But getting back to,
we have March Madness right now coming up there. I mean, this is a big day. This is a super upset.
Who do you like, Govy?
I like Auburn to win the whole thing. And
what is it? 60? How many teams? 64 right now.
64. There was a couple that had to get in just to get that. But today, later on this afternoon, I like my little upset pick. I like Arkansas with John Calipari. DJ Wagner came from Kentucky with him. Super kid plays. I think DJ Wagner's going to have a great game. They're going to beat Kansas. And I think that's my upset. Arkansas +5 over Kansas.
Did you ever go to March Madness?
Yeah.
Oh, you
I went to
a
bunch of NCAA finals.
Really? Is it fun? It must be amazing.
The crowd is just so, back, I
remember Villanova back in the day. It was great. It was crazy when they were in it.
Yeah, there was one year Kentucky played Duke when Christian Laettner turned around, did a jump shot. And I was at that game, and then for some reason, I'm sitting next to Julius Erving during this game. And I had a friend who was having her 30th birthday party. And I had to leave at halftime. And Julius Erving said to me, Jeff, this could be the greatest college game of all time that you're leaving.
Unbelievable.
And we went to the Four Seasons for this 30th birthday dinner. And the game was the turnaround jump shot at the buzzer. And at the Four Seasons were all the Kentucky people.
Yeah.
They were crying. And I missed. That was the greatest college basketball game.
And you missed it.
And I missed it. I got to see the first half.
So, Govy, what do you think about the fact that obviously we know these college campuses are rioting again, and now what Trump is doing is pulling money. And I don't like the fact that he just pulled $175 million from University of Pennsylvania because of the transgender thing.
Why?
I understand pulling money, federal money, for rioting. There should be no rioting. And if Columbia can't handle their security concerns, yank their money. But I think, this transgender thing, they have to transition out of, and that's not a pun, transition, but they have to transition, away from that mindset slowly. They just can't start yanking money from schools for that.
I think the left.
And I'm on the left there. I just don't think you can, day one, the switch turns and it's got to be a different role.
I'm going to tell you why I disagree with you on that. I think that it's common sense.
This has really been troubling me.
Well, I think it's common sense. And it bothers me that the far left can't see through the farce. So here is University of Pennsylvania. You got this women's swim team. They work their butt off, these girls, to be the best they can. By the way, they're up at 5 o'clock in the morning swimming laps while other college kids are sleeping, working their heart up. Now, here's this Leah Thomas. The guy swam on the men's swim team freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, on the men's team. All of a sudden, his senior year, still with his penis intact, says, I'm going to go out for the women's thing, and starts blowing away the field. It looks like there's a motor on the back of the thing. So
can't you at least finish the calendar school year before you start yanking money?
What about the girl that doesn't get the podium? What about the girl that has to change in front of
All right,
it.
I'm going to give you a lousy analogy, a really lousy analogy.
Do the right thing and tell them no.
Well, I'm going to give you a lousy analogy. In order to save Social Security, they're going to say you can't get it till you're 69. But they tell that to the 40-year-olds. There's enough time for a 40-year-old to earn more money to know that he's not getting his money till 69. I mean, here's a kid that trained whatever, thought these were the rules. I don't know inside of a calendar year that you can start yanking money from a school. I think it's too fast.
Why should you be able just common sense tells you?
Because you had a Democratic Congress and president, so that was the rule for 40.
But you could destroy the sport. So let's just forget swimming.
Okay.
All right, you are now.
I'm not arguing long term. I'm arguing short term.
You are now a golfer, and you're on the University of Miami men's golf team.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, this year, you want to identify as a female.
You're going to win.
Should you just be able to take your power from the ladies' tees and instead of being driver 4-iron to the green, you're driver sandwich to the green and you blow away the field and you win the entire NCAA tournament? Why?
I'm not arguing for transgender. I'm not arguing that they shouldn't be in a different category. I'm arguing that it shouldn't happen all at once where you're yanking money from a school.
But it did happen all at once. Was transgenders in the sports 10 years ago?
No.
Do any girls who were girls that became men, do you see them in any sports? No.
Well, I just think it's a little harsh to take that much money away from them. I think next year you take it away from them. I don't think you can.
Well, they have an opportunity to take away $1 billion. University of Pennsylvania gets $1 billion of federal money.
I did see that.
$1 billion. That's some of the hospital. They're taking away 17% of their money because of the sports. So you know what?
All right, Govy wins this argument.
Do the right thing.
Wins.
I mean, $1 billion.
You're right. I mean,
So we're down here in Florida, and you're talking about the weather. So here's the interview. Right now, we have spring break out here. We have all these kids from the SEC. We have them from University of Vermont, from Penn State, the Big Ten. They're all down here in Miami, Fort Lauderdale. They're drinking, getting laid, having a good time. You see them like just enjoying themselves, being 18, 19, 20, 22-year-old kids, enjoying themselves. The Ivy League kids, they're pitching a tent, having a face guard, cheering for Hamas, trying to stop Jewish kids from going to school. Who has the right idea, and what party is sitting there saying, "Are you kidding me?"
It's
Take away their money. Columbia.
Well, it's going to stop. I mean, Columbia is devastated, they say, by the $400 million he is taking away.
And the endowments.
Yeah, I mean, but Qatar and all those guys have so much money. Maybe they'll just make it up.
Away. How about they said that they could start the endowments that they have? They could tax them. They want to raise the tax to 35% on the endowment. I mean, Trump could
decimate.
He can break them. I mean, you're playing with a guy that can break them.
And he will.
And how about this other game? How about he's negotiating right now with Ukraine and with Russia, and Putin said, listen, we will not attack Ukraine's nuclear power plant. I would like the United States to be involved they trust the United States. And Trump said, great, we'll run it. He didn't even think that could be part of the negotiation. The United States might have nuclear energy in Ukraine because Zelensky's okay with the United States because it's security.
Well, I heard a fact, and I didn't do the research, but I heard that Ukraine had the third biggest nuclear weapon supply in the world, and they gave it up for security years ago.
Yeah, they did.
And now they get invaded? I didn't know that fact.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, they were talked into giving up their weapons and they would be protected.
Yeah.
And then, then Obama came into office and it was Crimea.
Wow, that's a whole different, scenario than I
mean, Trump's the only guy that has never started a war and, he's, that's why he's going to solve Israel. Going to solve that.
How's he going to solve Israel? I mean, they're fighting a full-fledged war right now. I mean, these Houthis or the Hamas or whoever the hell is with an H over there, or Mez or whatever it's called.
I'll tell you how fast he's working.
They stop, they start, they stop, they start.
Biden wasn't even talking to Putin during the 3.5 years. There was no.
I think they're going to fix that Putin-Ukraine thing because he has leverage.
Right, he's going to do that. But here's the thing that's crazy. Do you know in 2 years when the midterms are coming? If anybody, do you know the number one issue this year was the immigration, the border, close the border. They're not even going to know if there's an immigration problem in 2 years. It's closed. It's locked solid right now. I mean, we're getting people out that are in this country, but there's no one coming in. It is
right.
Like, how did he do that in 50 days?
But how's he going to solve the Middle East? For hundreds of years, people have been fighting over there. I mean, Israel's only, 1946 or whatever year?
He's doing it 47, I think. It's a radical. He's going up to Gaza right now, and he's coming up with a territory. He's saying this is a
3 million people or 1.5 million people.
Here's a humanitarian zone that you'll be okay, fed, this, that. And he says, and then they're going to clear out the rest who he's going to consider terrorists. There's no way. Look, Hamas is firing missiles at them right now. Where are they getting these missiles from? I thought they were decimated. So it's like there's never going to be peace there until it's gone.
Well, I think what Trump has to do is hit the hell out of Iran. He's got to knock out the money. He's got to get rid of the money. But what you said last week, it's like a giant circle. They're buying oil from Putin, and then they're doing this and they're doing that. It's like the money's going in a circle. It's a joke.
Germany gave more money for energy to Russia.
Right.
Than they gave to helping Ukraine. So now they give money to Russia. Russia takes the money to bomb Ukraine. Germany then gives money to Ukraine to battle back. I mean, it's just stupid.
Crazy, right?
It's just stupid.
People are dying. Kids are dying. I don't know, Govy. So what do you got there? I'm fighting hay fever. It's killing me in this town.
Yeah, it's...
the hay fever is like nuts.
You know, I was on when I flew back from Philadelphia. That's like it was 70
Govy
degrees.
was in Philly last week. You have fun?
Yeah, it was 70. I got to tell you, the airport though, I missed.
Shithole?
I was delayed like 4 or 5 hours. The day before, they canceled a bunch of flights, and the next day, they canceled flights. I had a dinner.
So, Govy, how soon after the plane takes off the runway in Palm Beach International, in the air to Philly, are you counting the hours, minutes, and days till you're coming back to Palm Beach?
I can't wait to come back. It's like I just can't wait to get back here. And when I was in Philly coming down here, you know, I had my little dog with me. So I gave him a little pill to make him easier. And I said, "Are you sure like the delays are over?" And they said, "Positively." I gave my dog the needle, and the next thing you know, the pill. Next thing you know, it's delayed.
Trump Force One was on the runway and they stopped the traffic, right?
Yeah.
Or Air Force One.
So listen to this. There was so much turbulence that day that it took us 3.5 hours to fly down here because they took some crazy way. And now at midnight, as we're finally ready to come in from a 3:30 flight, they said Trump's ready to take off. We had to circle with 6 other planes over the Everglades.
Well, he was at the championship dinner with Scotty and us.
For 45 minutes while Trump took off. But you know what? Because it was him, I was okay with it. I mean, he deserves
He was
that.
the champion.
And the next day, we had dinner with tennis players. Shout out Tommy Paul, Jess Pagula. You came to the dinner.
I came, Tommy Paul.
And and a couple guys from our company couldn't make it because their flights were canceled.
Yeah, that was a great dinner at the shout out to the Boca Resort. My God, the dinner they gave us was unbelievable.
Yeah, and they're all like, Jess is a member there now. Tommy's joining.
Well, Jess is number 3 in the world.
3 in the world.
Tommy's
10.
number 9 or 10. And I felt bad for them because everybody recognized Govy instead of them from the Cutty and Govy show.
That was something, you know, when they're recognizing us and like, you know.
Then are you getting like carpal tunnel syndrome from signing so many autographs though, Govy?
You know, with him,
standing in line for you.
With him, they bring those tennis balls, those big fuzzy tennis balls. We don't have
He's
anybody.
a handsome guy though.
Yeah, they consider him the like most handsome guy on the whole tennis.
He'll probably be on that People magazine, you know, most handsome guy in the United States, whatever they call it.
Down here in Miami, he's the happy-go-lucky guy. He's out there fishing right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy what he said. He goes out fishing by himself like that. It's nuts.
Yeah, and then you have Emma Navarro. I'm cheering for her. play. So it's
Yeah, that was a fun night, and the amount of food that they brought was insane. And these guys can eat. I mean, I guess, can you imagine playing tennis for 3, 4, 5 hours? How many calories you burn?
yeah, isn't that
I mean, it's amazing that you have that kind of energy, but they're young.
and they're and then just the working out is just
Yeah, and I guess they run and they do.
there was a a survey that came out. It was an interesting story. They said if you play a racket sport, that you live longer. If you play tennis, you live longer than other sports that you can do for exercise. Maybe it's hand-eye coordination. It's starting.
But I think it's everything. You're using your hands. You're using your
I
legs.
think it's starting and stopping. You know, like running, you're just getting this pace. But in tennis, you run hard for like 30 seconds.
Right.
You stop. You run hard for 30 seconds.
Right. Yeah. You're doing everything. It's like the equipment at the gym. I don't know what it's called, where your feet are moving and your arms are moving like that. What is that called? I don't even know. I just use the treadmill.
That's the elliptical.
Elliptical, right. Elliptical. I knew I was looking for
By the
that
way,
word.
at the gym, aren't these girls at the elliptical, when they're next to you and you're on the treadmill, don't they see that you're with the most powerful man in the world? You're with the wealthiest man in the world. You're all over. I
got a letter from Warren Buffett. I sent him my book. Maybe Cole will put that letter up. He sent me a letter.
Yeah,
He got my book, Warren Buffett.
He sends you a letter.
And right away, he sent me a letter. He said, thank you for the book. I'm
General
going to read
Jack
it.
Keane says, "Hello, Cutty."
Right.
You're walking into this place and you got these people saying, "Hey, Cutty, how's it going?"
Right.
And don't these girls are sitting there saying, "Well, who
Why?
are you?"
No, I tell them all. I say to them, look, I was with the most powerful man in the world, the richest man in the world, and I'd rather spend time with you.
That's
And
great.
they honestly believe me, Govy.
That's great. Well, that's a great line.
Oh, man, this time went so fast.
I wish that is a great line
Right?
to do. Yeah.
I realized I'd rather spend time with you.
I would use that every day.
Right?
Every day. It's a good go-to.
Doesn't work, but it's fun to say. Anyway, Govy, I mean, there's not much that we can say about the gorgeous Chamber of Commerce weather, and I'm starting to see the car carriers. People are starting to leave, which for us is better. We can get in the restaurants.
But you know what? Everybody's coming. They're getting tired of
Spring breaks here.
Yeah, but they're getting tired of up north. I mean, some of them are like it's politics is everything. It's a game that it's a sport.
But we're going to transition to our next season, spring in Florida.
Yeah.
And then summer.
It's today. Isn't today the first
I think
day of
today.
spring?
Well, didn't Puxatawny Phil, is that just up north? Didn't he see a shadow
He
or
did,
something?
but it's
6 more weeks or something.
it's going to be it's baseball season in another 2 weeks.
Yeah,
or
everybody's going up to Roger Dean to see them play at Roger Dean. Govy, I'm losing my voice from the allergies here.
Wow.
So look, you have a great week. You're
You
back
too.
in town. We missed
Back
you.
in town. You want maybe go to a tennis match tomorrow, next day or so?
This weekend, sure.
Miami
Can
Open.
you get us good seats?
I got us good seats.
All right, let's go.
All right.
All right, folks, have a great week.
See ya.
Take care.